Back. Police need freedom from interference and streamlined management to address critical failures. That's according to a recent opinion piece by the Institute for Security Studies Gareth Newham. Gareth, this was responding to the recent unrest in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. Newham believes that the events expose severe weaknesses in the police at a time of national crisis. He's joining us now to discuss this a little bit further. Gareth, welcome to the Midday View on eNCA. In fact, having read your opinion piece, and I've seen another analysis piece on a similar platform by Marian Tam, also writing about the whole issue of the aftermath of the recent so-called attempted insurrection. It's zooming in on the police, and your headline sort of grabbed my attention, that there is a need to free the SAPS from freedom. Freedom from interference, to free them from interference, and streamlining the management. Does it suggest the police, from your perspective, are not free at the moment from interference?
Yes, we've been very close, tracking the police performance, budgets and resources very closely for most of the last decade, since around 2010. And we started to see big problems, early signs of big problems as far back as 2012. One of the big problems was identified already then by the National Development Plan, and it called this problem a serial crisis of top management in the police. And this is demonstrated by the fact that since 2009, when Jackie Selebi was suspended or was on special leave because he'd been prosecuted for corruption, there have been 8 different people who held the post of National Commissioner since that period. So every 1 or 2 years, a new person gets appointed. They restructure the top echelons. They're bringing people loyal to them, often not being properly assessed. And they are appointed by the president. So they're largely appointed because of their perceived loyalty to act in the interests, politically and personally, of the president. And that means that your top echelon starts becoming highly politicized. And it's even mandated in the SAPS employment regulations that the Minister of Police, who's a politician, has to concur with any of the appointments of the top SMS echelon, which is about 800 brigadiers and generals. The minister has to concur with an appointment, a promotion, or a transfer of those top people. And that means that there's too much unwanted political interference into who becomes a top manager in the South African Police Service.
You know, during this violence we saw, when I began to watch and see the police minister on the ground, I asked myself, where's the police commissioner? Is that a fair question to ask? Is that a fair question to ask?
It's a very fair question to ask, because the minister obviously is the political head. The Constitution says there must be a minister of police to exercise oversight of the South African Police Service and ensure that it adheres to the policy direction that the governing party wants the police to move in. And that's appropriate. That happens everywhere in democracies around the world. But at an operational level, the Director General of Police, we call that person the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, that person really has to operationalize the policies and make sure that the police are well-resourced, well-trained, held accountable for doing their work, and they need to lead from the front. So we really do need to see much more of the National Commissioner, so we understand what kind of person this man or woman is, how do they see things unfolding, because they're really the leader of the South African Police Service. And if they're not visible, it raises a lot of questions as to why not.
Yeah, is it because then part of that political interference you were alluding to is maybe dominating, and Commissioner Kehla Stole in this case feels overpowered or overwhelmed and steps back? Doesn't he have any legal recourse from his office, the office that he occupies, that he could say to Begitele, hold on, I'm the commissioner here, please let me do my job?
Well, it would be very difficult because the president appoints both the Minister of Police and the National Commissioner of Police. And so in many ways, the National Commissioner would feel that they could ignore the minister and say, well, I only report directly to the president, but in reality, the president would expect the minister to give guidance to the police. And I think in this situation, we recall that the National Commissioner was appointed by the former president, President Zuma, and there has been an ongoing legal battle around what the High Court found was inappropriate response and basically neglecting their duties relating to the purchasing of a so-called GRAB, a communication interception device, just before the 2017 African National Congress elective conference. So there's probably a lot of political mistrust at that level, and that further could explain why we don't really see much of the National Commissioner in the public eye.
Okay, now, just on this point, we're going to explore a couple of others very quickly just now, because you raised a number of other challenges and suggestions of how things can improve so that the SAPS can be better prepared next time around. There's an insurrection of sorts. Leadership, therefore, is key. So is it up to Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa as president to make sure that you've got a strong leader there who can do the work properly? And can he tell Peggy Cele and whoever is a commissioner to say, hey guys, remember who is the commissioner, allow the commissioner to do the job, or is that also interference?
No, that's exactly what the president's role is, because the president appoints the National Commissioner of Police and appoints the National Minister of Police. So it's up to the president to make sure that he appoints the most highly capable, highly experienced man or woman into the post of the National Commissioner of Police, and that the Minister of Police is very clear about what his or her role is in relation to the operational commander, that's the National Commissioner, and so the President is the only one who can really fix this. No one else can step in and tell either one of those two top people what to do. And it's not as if we don't have many excellent generals and brigadiers in the South African Police Service. There are 200 generals. We probably do not need that many, but many of them are really highly experienced men and women of immense integrity, years of experience, probably could compete with the best police officers in the world because of the experience they've had. And similarly, at a brigadier level, which is the second highest sort of rank below the generals, there are many very capable people there. The problem is that for political reasons, the ANC ministers over the last decade or so have been inclined to appoint people into those posts more for their political loyalties and less because of their abilities or capabilities. And so you've got a situation of a top echelon of generals and brigadiers that do not see eye to eye, are not on the same page, do not trust each other, are not able to work together, and we've seen that dysfunction trickle down into the police, so that despite a 65% increase in the budgets between 2012 and 2020, most important indicators, such as the ability to solve murder, for example, has dropped by 38%, air support, roadblocks, coordinate search operations have all dropped by double figures, despite this massive increase in the budget over the same time.
So it's not about
the consequence of leadership at war.
Okay, I think you're very clear. So it's not about money, there's money, and the budget has been increasing. It's not about the lack of expertise. We have highly qualified and experienced police generals who can stand up to anybody else in the world. There's a question of leadership. So President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa has an opportunity. If there was one ever out of this crisis, if there was a silver lining, it would be maybe a move in the right direction by the president in terms of sorting out the mess at the top, at the South African Police Service, and then leave the generals to do the job. Do you think the president could move in that direction?
I certainly hope he will. It's really now or never. The police have deteriorated so badly over the last 8 to 10 years that there's not much more that we can expect if we don't see really whole-scale reform and a complete clean-out of the deadwood at the top levels. And only the president can ensure that happens. So this recent unrest, this attempted insurrection, as the president calls it, is really a wake-up call. We can't go on like this. If we do, our entire economy, our entire country's future will be at stake. It's really a matter of getting on top of this now, fixing that problem as soon as possible, so that we can start really building the kind of professional police service that has the trust and support of all South Africans.
And very briefly, so the fixing of the South African Police Service is in the hands of one man only, Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, at this stage, the president.
Yes, he's the only one who can unlock the current blockages in the South African Police Service. It's up to him.
Thank you very much, Gareth Newham, the expert from the Institute of Security Studies. There you have it. Tatan Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, you better move. You have a gift. Ironically, there's a gift that this crisis has given you. Fix the South African Police Service now. It's in your hands, Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa as the President of the Republic. And the law allows you to do so. Once and for all, we can get our police service right. Next time there's an insurrection, they'll be better prepared if you put the right people there. You have more than 200 generals who are qualified.